Hopefully everybody had a great, happy Thanksgiving. Penn State facing the juggernaut Terps, 1-6 in their last 7. I think State High could beat them. Todd?
Love this holiday weekend. What are we thankful for? Of course, the cast and crew of the Blue White Tailgate. And to watch Saquon Barkley for 3 years. And to see this high-octane offense, which is on pace to be the highest scoring in program history.
You know, Todd, in the pre-show meeting, Trey said he wasn't going to talk to us during the show today. Nothing like that Thanksgiving feeling on the set. The Blue White Tailgate is next. And happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Welcome to the Blue White Tailgate. Steve, Trey, Todd, great to have you with us on the show today. Let's see. I saw one headline that said Penn State holds on to beat Nebraska. Anytime that you score on 5 straight possessions and you produce 6 3-and-outs defensively, you aren't holding on to anything.
No, they're not holding on to anything. But then again, was that reported by CNN or MSNBC, the fake news? I mean, all I know is we should have scored 100 against them, and we didn't. And we'll talk a little bit later in the show that, you know, defensively, I think we really laid an egg in the second half. But the fact is that game was never in doubt, Todd.
No, it certainly wasn't. And it felt like an entire game was played in the first 30 minutes. Yeah. It got to halftime. It's 42-10. It's 2 hours long, and we're going, oh, wait a second, there's still a second half to be played. I mean, there was a lot going on in those first couple of quarters.
All right, let's head to the update desk and Allison Luthman.
Hey guys, welcome to your PSECU pregame update, bringing you everything you need to know before kickoff this week. Penn State has never scored more than 40 points against the Nebraska team until this past week. The 42 points scored in the first half alone were the most a Penn State team has scored in the first half since scoring 56 against Illinois in 2005. The win over the Cornhuskers also means James Franklin has now had a victory over every Big Ten team. Now it's time to take a look at the Nittany Lions in the NFL this week. Paul Posluszny had 5 tackles and 2 assisted tackles against the Browns. Adrian Amos had 6 tackles against the Lions. And Trevor Williams had 3 tackles and 1 interception against the Bills. That's been your PSECU pregame update. We'll see you at the game.
Thank you, Allison. Paul Posluszny rolls out of bed, gets 5 tackles
Correct.
and 2 assists. I mean, just by waking up. All right, drive of the game presented by our good friends at Joel Comfer. We'll check out the drive of the game here. Joel Comfer in State College presenting our drive of the game. It's a 5-play, 67-yard drive. And again, the mix is what's so important in going through this, Trey. They're hard to defend.
Well, they're almost impossible to defend. You got a guy who's probably the best player in the country. He goes, he can catch it, and he can run it. And McSorley's got good feet. He's got good vision and good throw there to Deshaun Hamilton. And they're off to the races here.
Well, we had 8 drives of the game to choose from since they scored 56 points. But this particular one, you just feel helpless as a defense, don't you? I mean, where do you go to stop this particular team? You got to cover Gesicki one-on-one. I mean, you got a mismatch there. You got a mismatch coming out of the backfield with Saquon Barkley. And, oh, by the way, if those two are covered, you got a bunch of other receivers to go to. You feel for some of these opposing defenses because this is a difficult team to stop.
Well, I don't feel for them, but it's not at all, by the way.
Family Clothesline Offensive Player of the Week presented by the Family Clothesline. Go to PennStateClothes.com. Not thrown for a single yard in losses in this game. 158 yards rushing for Saquon Barkley. 224 total yards, all from scrimmage. 3 touchdowns, surpassing Lydell Mitchell's career rushing touchdown record.
Unbelievable, special player, and he's not going to be back next year, so enjoy it while you can.
And I don't know if I've seen a player make an impact so quickly in so many games. On his first or second touch of a game, just break it off for 60, 70, 80 yards as he's done this year.
All right, he's the Family Clothesline Offensive Player of the Week. With a little hug there from Steven Gonzalez. Now to the defensive side we go. 13 tackles. Again, the Family Clothesline, PennStateClothes.com, 13 tackles for Brandon Smith. Now, Barkley, obviously recruited. Brandon Smith, walk-on. And he has stepped into his role the last 2 years. You have to appreciate how smart he is as a linebacker, Trey.
Well, he's just he's a classic Penn State guy, and I mean that in all the right ways. You know, he's good in the classroom. He's a good teammate. He's a very smart player, and he's very underrated because the fact is he hasn't played a lot of football other than the last few years.
Well, he wants to go to medical school, eventually be maybe the Penn State team doctor. And from Mike Gesicki, 2 touchdown catches on the day. His last game at Beaver Stadium.
I was just kind of taking it all in, just understanding that, people would, die to play in Beaver Stadium, in front of the best atmosphere in college football, in front of the best fans in college football. And, we've been doing it for the last 4 years, so it's been absolutely unbelievable. So I was definitely taking it all in and, enjoying, the last moments on Beaver Stadium.
More catches than any tight end in Penn State history, more touchdown catches than any Penn State tight end in school's history. What a great game for the seniors to go out 14-0 in Beaver Stadium in their last 14 games. Coming up, we'll take a look at the matchup between Penn State and Maryland at Capital One Field at Maryland Stadium as we continue with the Blue White Tailgate Show after this. Welcome back on this Thanksgiving weekend. Great to have you with us on the Blue White Tailgate Show. Penn State and Maryland coming up. We know the series has been lopsided in favor of Penn State forever because when Penn State went down to Maryland and played at Ravens Stadium, at M&T Bank Stadium, Maryland wore their throwbacks to the time they beat them in 1961.
Yeah, it's Maryland. I think I'm looking at my sheet here. I think it's, 37-2 against them? I mean, Todd, it's a rivalry.
Well,
you got to say it's a rivalry.
Penn State wore their throwbacks to the last time they had beaten them, which means just their regular jerseys.
Those are their jerseys.
Right, just whatever we normally wear when we beat them.
Well, for Trace McSorley, he really feels that the program has made great strides to get to this point as they head down to College Park.
I mean, going back, being able to play kind of back in, at home, for lack of a better term. Maryland Stadium's 45 minutes from my house, so it's right there. I've been to games there as a recruit and kind of as a young kid. It's awesome kind of be able to go back and play in that venue that I'm kind of familiar with, playing in my neck of the woods. And for a lot of guys like Marcus, kind of that same sort of feeling.
Yeah, they probably recruited him as a safety.
Yeah. They weren't recruited by quarterback, for sure.
Yeah, but you can relate going home. I mean, what was it special for you going back, playing at Giant Stadium, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up 5 miles from the Meadowlands. So, I mean, we had, I had my high school friends, my family, it was a really a special thing. And for Trace, I know this year, I'm sure he's trying to line up his tickets to make sure he got enough tickets for all his friends and family, and it's a special thing. And he's going to have a big game on Saturday.
I'm sorry to hear you grew up 5 miles from the Meadowlands. You overcame a lot.
I did overcome a lot.
To where you've gotten to, Trey.
Yes.
Well done.
Another touching holiday moment on the set. All right. The Penn State offense against the Maryland defense. DJ Durkin is a defensive guy. They've given up a lot of points. They've had a lot of injuries. But you know what? You look at a guy like Jermaine Carter. One of the keys of the game is obviously stopping number 1 on both sides of the ball. DJ Moore, Jermaine Carter. Carter's a good middle linebacker, but he's not surrounded by a lot.
No, he doesn't. I mean, he's kind of like, talk about being on an island. I mean, it's him and he's got, a couple of guys in the defensive secondary who are, decent players. I mean, none of these guys would be playing at Penn State for sure. That's why they're at Maryland. But, you got one guy versus 11. You got the best player in the country in Saquon Barkley. It's not going to happen for them.
And then J.C. Jackson and Darnell Savage, a couple of guys with 3 interceptions apiece during the course of the year. Now let's flip it over, Todd, to the other side. It's going to be the Penn State defense and the Maryland offense. And for Maryland, the problem has been, as the season has gone along, they don't have a quarterback. They're down to their 4th and at one point their 5th string guy.
Well, and this just seems to be a reoccurring theme for this team and this program. They cannot keep their quarterbacks healthy. They're down to their 3rd string guy, and his name is Bordenschlager. And we were joking, it sounds like something that happens on happy hour on Fridays. You go get Bordenschlager. But, they do have a guy in the program, Kasim Hill, that they really, really like. And when their original starter went down, of course, you don't want to see anybody get hurt. They weren't necessarily panicking because they just went to Kasim Hill a little early. And then he's got a lot of explosiveness, and you're going to hear a lot more about that guy in the years to come. But when he went down with an injury, that's really when the season just went down the tubes for the Terps.
Yeah, no question about that. But DJ Moore, despite everything, 72 catches this year. Right? He's the mark guy, and he still makes plays. I respect that a lot. I mean, he's a really good player.
And one of the things that you got to like about the Maryland team is that there's no give up in them. I mean, Coach Durkin has really, his message is resonating. They haven't given up. They've lost 6 of 7, but they're still fighting. I mean, they went to East Lansing in that awful weather and played Michigan State tough, 17-7. But you know, this is the time of year you want to play a team like Maryland. They don't have the depth to overcome a Big Ten schedule as you get all the way through. And a team like the Nittany Lions that does have the depth, that does have the talent, is going to take advantage of that.
Good running back in Ty Johnson. He broke one last year against Penn State for a score. He can be explosive along with Harrison in the backfield. And Marcus Allen knows that if they can take away the run, they can win the game.
Well, I'll say that first we just got to start off with just keep watching more film of them, get a great idea of what they're going to have coming or have rolling for us. I would just say just keep watching film, and then when we got practice today, just have the scout team try to implement how they're going to run against us and how they're going to pass against us.
This game was built for him.
Yeah.
Right? This is a game that was built for him. I mean, play the run.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be close to the line of scrimmage. I'm sure Brent's going to have him all over the place at the line of scrimmage, and he's not deflecting too many passes on
Yeah,
Saturday,
he's going to be jacked
sure.
up, aggressive, ready to go right from the start.
And remember, because of the targeting call in the fourth quarter against Troy Apke, he will not start and will not play the first half of the game on Saturday. He will then start the second half of the game on Saturday. Coming up, we take a foray into the film room. What does Jay have? Maybe holiday movies next.
We are back on the Blue-White Tailgate. Thankful, of course, we have the film room with Jay Paterno. It's brought to you by Beer Belly's Beverage. And let's talk about Maryland. Look, I think this is the best time to catch a team like this. I think they're banged up, defensively, how they're going to stop Penn State. But you had a chance to look at the film. What did you see?
Well, you better look for number one on both sides of the ball. Let's talk about the defense with Maryland first, because that's where they're strongest. And take a look at the full screen here. Last year they were a good defense. You see they've improved against the run, but against third downs they're really struggling. And on team sacks they've really dropped from 37 last year to 15 this year. But let's take a look at how they're going to play Penn State. They'll play the run game against Penn State 2 different ways. They'll play with 2 safeties high and try to handle the run game with just 6 in the box. The nickel is a safety, so he's a good-sized guy. Let's take a look at the film against Michigan, where they're going to come in there, and their linebackers are pretty good. They make tackles. They do some good things. Like I said, number one, their middle linebacker is a guy to watch. Now, when they go to a single safety high, which is a lot of what DJ Durkin did when he was a defensive coordinator at Michigan, one thing you're going to see again with this middle linebacker, watch him come up and take this thing on. These guys really attack the run, and you can expect that they're going to try and do that Saturday to keep Saquon Barkley from getting started. But again, they really come at you. They're really aggressive, and they try and make some plays. Now, the problems on third downs, let's take a look at what some of the problems are. Again, with all the man-to-man that they do, and again, with crossing routes that Penn State likes to run and some of the things they like to do with Barkley in the pass game, that's going to be a problem for them. And here, they have some communication issues. They've got some injuries. They've got some guys. But watch, these 2 guys have these 2 guys. And on the crossing routes, one guy goes free. Take a look at this against Michigan, where they both end up covering the same guy. There's Michigan's tight end wide open. And if they do those kind of things, and they have had some problems with that this year, they'll have some problems. The other problem on third down has been tackling. Now, here is something that Penn State fans are going to really like to see, because here, Michigan gets their running back out in the route. They drop 8 and bring a guy late, so they really essentially only drop 7. But again, in the open field, they get a lot of depth on third and long. They get the ball to the back, and watch what happens here with the missed tackles in the open field. Here's a chance again. 3rd and 12, this guy makes a tackle, Michigan's punting. But again, they're having some troubles on defense in the open field making tackles. So they're going to have to do a lot better against Penn State.
Offensively, it's personnel issues at the quarterback position again for the Terps. Talk about it every single year, and it's like your offense has a hamstring injury when you can't do what you want to do with your quarterback.
Absolutely, and the quarterback thing has been tough for them. You know, when you look at this team against Texas early in the year with speed and the quarterback playing, they beat them. But let's take a look at what we can expect on Saturday from Maryland. And what they're gonna do is, again, they want to run the ball because they're having trouble with the quarterback spot, and they've done a pretty good job. It's the one offensive category where they're in the top half of the country, 165 yards a game, 63rd. So take a look at what they like to run. They like the inside. They like the inside run pass option here. Here they're going to fake this, get this guy in the middle, and throw the ball in behind him. So take a look at the video here. You're going to see that linebacker just freezes enough, and he throws it in behind him. And that's one of the things, nice easy throw that their quarterback, even though it's their fourth guy, can do and do fairly effectively. Now, their base run, when they want to run their stuff, they got their tight end in here. They're going to come at you. They're going to bring the tight end around, get north and south, and they have two backs that are pretty good, and they run hard. Take a look at this run here. Again, see that tight end line up, come around. He reads that middle linebacker, he goes the other way, he cuts, and makes a good run and does some good things in the open field. And again, this is a team that has some guys in the skill position that if they get loose, they can make some things happen. One of those is DJ Moore. When he lines up, number one, find out where he is. Here they line him up in the wing over here. They fake the run. They come out. They block downfield. Take a look at this play. And again, this is just a way for them to get their quarterback a completion, get 8 or 9 yards like it's a run play, and get the ball into Moore's hands, which they have struggled to do. They do another thing here now where they have a wide-out screen. You're going to see a bunch of these, especially if Penn State plays man-to-man to load up the box. They come in. They crack on both of these guys. This guy comes in. I really like this play because he actually comes upfield and then wheels back around behind the line of scrimmage. The linebackers chase the run. They throw the ball to him, and take a look at this one. And again, they do have some guys that can make some plays in the open field. And if Penn State misses a tackle, misses a step, it could be a long afternoon for the defense. They're going to have to do those things. And again, when you're struggling offensively, you got to get creative. Here they're going to run, they're going to hand the ball to tailback, flip it back here to Moore. Again, getting the ball to Moore, and now he's going to throw the ball back to quarterback. Take a look here. And again, it's a good little play, makes the defense a little hesitant, chasing runs. And again, expect some things from Maryland because, again, it's their last game of the season. They got nothing to lose. They're playing with house money, and could be fun.
Look, I think they're on the right path. They're in the right direction. They just got to get healthy and stay healthy in a year, which is asking a lot for the Terps. For Penn State, it's your final impression for the College Football Playoff Committee. Need a few style points.
Absolutely, and I think Penn State will be fine. If they take care of the ball, they'll be in great shape.
All right, we'll be right back to finish up the Blue White Tailgate after this.
Our Kish Bank momentum moment. Here it is. Saquon Barkley. Go ahead. Up in the air. Okay. They said he stepped out of bounds at the 1.
Doesn't matter.
You know?
Doesn't matter. It's a great play.
It's a great play.
It's
You
awesome.
have to love it. We've been treated to 3 years of absolute all-out play by 26. For Trace McSorley, watching the program evolve, and he's been an important part of it, has been fun for him.
I think everyone, the locker room that I was kind of stepping into was, we're going to come in, we're going to work hard, we're going to compete in everything that we did, and then we were just, going to, be building kind of a process. And now where we're at now, it's not building that process, it's carrying on kind of what's been built over the last couple of years, and assuming that role of making sure that this program stays where it needs to be.
18 of their last 21. Penn State's 18-3 their last 21. All right, now we get to the good, the bad, the ugly. All right, here we go. I get the good. Thanksgiving weekend and college football, and also pro football too. This is a fun weekend. I love this. We're going to enjoy it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Todd, you get the bad.
Yeah, it's maybe the best for football fans. All right, the bad is the annual coaching carousel. I just can't stand this. Jim Moore's gone to UCLA. Guy had a chance, 6 years. They don't want him there anymore. Lane Kiffin may stay for 5 minutes at Florida Atlantic and be hired somewhere else. Charlie Strong may stay 10 minutes somewhere else. And what's happening to the kids? How do you recruit when you only stay there 1 year? Come to Florida Atlantic and play for me for 1 year.
You know, interesting point about that. Trace, if they had an early signing period, Trace McSorley was asked what you would have done because you would have signed with Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Right. Go ahead.
I get the ugly. Okay, how about Oklahoma? Have you guys been following this at all? So Baker Mayfield, the guy who's probably going to win the Heisman Trophy, starts to misrepresent or misbehaves on the sideline against the Kansas fans, and he all of a sudden now has to apologize, and he cries. And then Lincoln Riley, the head coach, gets on, and he apologizes for Baker Mayfield because, it was inappropriate and whatever. It's a football game, okay? It's really, really difficult. You got people screaming at you. You've got, just own who you are. But the ugly thing for me is for them not to own who they are and then have to apologize. It's nonsense to me.
And with that, we now go to the picks. All right, so here we are. Let's get to the picks brought to you by #1 Cycle Center. And Trey goes first with Notre Dame and Stanford. You see our records. We're all doing great. Okay, go ahead.
Notre Dame at Stanford. So if anybody's ever followed the show for the last 3 or 4 years I've been on, you know I'm not picking Notre Dame. Okay, I hate those guys. You know it, and we're not. Okay, so I've got Stanford. Bryce Love is a great player. I think he's going to play well, and Stanford's going to take that win.
Todd, Clemson, South Carolina.
Will Muschamp doing a great job at South Carolina, but it's Clemson.
Jay, you've got the Iron Bowl.
The Iron Bowl brings back memories of Keith Jackson saying things like, "Touchdown, Alabama," and "Bo Jackson." I cannot pick against Alabama. It'll be close, but I think it's Roll Tide on their way to the SEC and maybe even the playoffs.
All right, Jay, and I have Michigan, Ohio State. Ohio State just has too much across the board. They'll win by 2 touchdowns in Ann Arbor. Trey, keys to the game.
Get up to a fast start and don't let off the gas pedal. Just pedal to the metal.
Penn State playing its game, going out and just taking care of business, dictating the tone, and stop the #1s. Carter on defense, more on offense.
Yeah, 60 minutes. Play 60 minutes. I don't want to see them coming back at the end. Just put your foot on the gas the entire way.
And again, our keys of the game are presented by our good friends at Fiore GMC, because everyone wants to know what your keys to the game are.
I don't know about that.
Hey, you know what? Thankful for the entire audience, our crew, especially these guys right here, Jay, Allison as well. Thanks so much for joining us on the Blue White Tailgate. Great job, by the way, on the turkey. That was tremendous.
Right?
You did that yourself?
I did, all by myself.
We'll see you for the bowl show.